Okay, raise your hand, please, if you've successfully completed 21. Show me your hand. 3 points, 3 points. So those who have finished 21 don't help on this one. It'll go a lot better if we let everybody else. So since there are only 3 of you. Okay, when you get back from the break, we have a Tuesday and then the test is the next day for this class. Key thing to remember is when you get test questions, don't look at a question and say, oh yeah, that's just like this other one we did. If you do, you'll step in a trap. Like, read what is in front of you. Solve the question that you are given, not some other question, okay? So when you read this problem, there's a bunch of clues. A good place to start on many AP questions is clearly identify what is it they want. Like, get past all the clues and say, oh, this is what I'm looking for. And then write that down. Failing to write things down does lead to a lot of mistakes. So I say good notation is going to get you a better test score. So hands up, who knows what they're asking for? What do they want us to find? So this is not calculus now, this is just reading. It's like read the problem, get past all the hints, the clues, identify what is it they want. Let's go, Kyla. So then write down on your paper something like this. I promise, writing that down will help you figure out what comes next. So who knew that? Point 2 for Kylie. So once you write this down, what's the next thought that you have? Hands, come on. Like I write down, I've got to find G prime of 2. So then I go back to big picture, I kind of read the problem again and go, oh, I can see that. That's why they gave me such and such. I can use that. And what should you be noticing now? Like a few more hands. Talk to each other. Come on. Hands up. You know you're supposed to find G prime of 2. So what should you be noticing next in the problem? Talking didn't help a whole lot. It's good people raise their hands again, but Carson.
We noticed that G of 2 equals 1.
So tell me what you want me to write down.
So G parentheses 2 equals 1. That's what
Definitely similar pattern. Other than that, I'm kind of feeling stuck because I'm like, well, now that means on the G function, when x is 2, y is 1. Hands up, what does this mean? Hands. What's the meaning of the Elena?
The slope of 2 on the G.
You're doing fine. Say it this way. The slope of G at x equal 2.
Okay.
How many knew it? 0.2 for Elena. Okay, look. Okay. A good score on the test. 25 brand new problems. One way to get through lots of unknown problems is to just know like a few basic things really well. You don't have to have a big long list of things, just a few basic things. If this problem had said somewhere in the problem that g of x was equal to something like this, please raise your hand if you knew you would know exactly what to do now. If the problem had given all these clues plus this clue, who would know exactly what to do at this moment? A lot of participation today. I'm just getting the same old reliable folks. Everyone else just staring at me like, I can't wait till this day is over. So, Karen. Yeah. How many knew that you would take this formula, find the derivative, plug in 2? 0.2 for Karen. Okay. It's going to happen on many AP problems where you need to do the same thing. They just made G look somewhat unfamiliar. But they still give you a formula for G. It's just not a formula that you're maybe as comfortable with. So hands up, who can see the formula for G? Come on. Get you guys' brains going a little bit. What's the formula for G? Sarah?
Gx equals F inverse.
F inverse.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's going on.
Good luck. I'm trying to get you to be much more comfortable with the fact that this formula for G, is no different than this formula for G. There's just a formula for G. You don't approach the problem any differently. Like if you have to find G prime here, you use certain rules to find G prime. Well, here I need to use certain rules to find G prime. So I take the derivative of both sides.
And it's the first thing.
Okay. Here you do the same thing. You take the derivative of both sides. Hate the phone. Okay. Sophia, you've been summoned to the office. Police are waiting for you. Sorry, Sophia. Just teasing, just teasing. I don't want to. Okay, so here you take like this. And then you use certain rules. I don't talk when I talk. So then you would use certain rules to find this derivative. The same is true here, it's just different rules. So please raise your hand if you know what gets written here. And if you don't have this rule memorized, you will miss one or two questions on the text. Let's go, Chris.
So 1 over f prime, parentheses f inverse x.
How many knew it? 0.2 for Chris. You don't want to talk about anything that's uncomfortable. Okay, another key to the test is you don't worry about more than one step. Like you just worry about one step, so like from here to here, all I did was worry about that one step, and then I just start fresh again. It's like I literally start over. I say, well, I have what they gave me in the beginning, but I also have this. So how does what they gave me in the beginning combined with this help me figure out what they want? That's how you always work your way through AP problems. Please.
It's because we're trying to find G prime of 2, so all we have to do now is plug in 2.
Now I just plug in 2. 2 for Calvin. So G prime of 2 is going to equal 1 over f prime of f inverse. Another key skill for the test is this. Don't let any sort of, I don't know, uncomfortableness with this stop you from writing it. Like just write it down and then worry about it. Don't worry about it until it's written down. So, question? Now what? And And again, it's the same strategy over and over again. You get big picture, you do little steps. You go back to big picture. Then you do some little steps, move back to big picture, do a little step. Now we gotta go back to big picture and figure out, okay, I'm this far. How does whatever they gave me help me continue? Talk to each other. Figure it out. Come on. It's not calculus anymore. It's just all just do you know what the equal sign means? That's what this is at this point. I got Hallie to raise her hand finally. Hey, look up. You know what talking about? You did your best, Sophie. Sophie and everybody else. Yeah, this door is kind of weird. When you leave the room, a lot of people will push on the button. As soon as you push on the button, it locks. So you just have to make sure that the button pops out. If the button's turned sideways, it will pop out. If the button's vertical, it always will pop out. Over. Okay, I want to mention something that Hallie said. This is, I think, insightful. Look up. Come on, look. So Abby and Tori, don't talk when I talk. It just messes with my concentration. Look. One of the things they try to always get you to get stuck on, gosh, look up. One of the things they try to get you stuck on is this whole idea of F inverse. Okay? I've actually never seen an AP problem where I really had to do hardly anything with that idea, F inverse. I have to remember this formula, that the derivative of F inverse is this. I have to at times remember this kind of an idea, that if G of 2 is equal to 1, then G inverse of 1 will be 2. But I've never needed anything else when it comes to F inverse. So I don't let that stress me. I just look for some clue. So what comes next? Who knows? What do I do here? So Howard?
Because G of 2 equals 1, F of net, I guess that equation that you have, G of x equals the inverse of F, would make F inverse of 2 1.
It says right here, G is the same thing as F inverse. You did fine. It says G of any x is exactly the same thing as F inverse of that same x. So G of 2 being 1 means F inverse of 2 is also 1. So it's not calculus, it's just, do you know how to read the equal sign? How many knew that? 2 points. Okay, 3 for Hal. Hands up, now what? So it's the same thing always. We do one step, then we just kind of reset and see, okay, now what? We're not trying to do steps on a problem, we're trying to just keep using concept. Sluggish day, it was just no energy. So Julia.
So now you need to find F prime with 1. So you need to find the derivative on the F of x equation, and then you can put it
How many knew it? 2 for Julia. you want to talk about it. I guarantee 1 or 2 problems on this test that will require you to know this formula. And then beyond that, it's just you being able to put the puzzle pieces together. Kylie?
So back to the inverse of that, I didn't think of using g of x. I thought that, and my thought process was to go to the f of x equation, plug into x, and then once you get that equation,
Oh, hold on.
route work.
Hold on. So you're going to plug a 2 into here?
Yeah, in that f of x, and then
Hold on a second. Listen close, everybody. Okay. I like the thought. I do think you've got it slightly backwards, but I like the thought. Here's what you said. Okay, the key is we're trying to find f inverse of 2, right? So, let's clear this off. So we're trying to find f inverse of 2. Because we're trying to find g prime of 2, which is going to be 1 all over f prime of f inverse of 2. So if I take this equation and I put in a 2 for x, is that right? Points for the whole room. Come on, wake up, talk to me. If I plug a 2 into here, I need to write an equation that describes what I'm doing. Like this whole class, you've got to keep writing equations. So what equation would describe what happens when we plug a 2 into here? What equation do I write that describes what's going on when we plug a 2 into this x? There we go, a few people can see it. What equation do I write when I'm plugging a 2 in for x? Good job.
F of 2 equals 2 in parentheses q plus 2 infinity. 2.
Okay, who knew this before he said it? Point 2 for Josh. Okay. Once you know this, you can write an inverse equation. Hands up, what inverse equation can I write? Come on, hands. Like I can write an equation now that involves f inverse. What will that inverse equation be, Luke?
F inverse of 10 equals 2.
So the reason I gave Kylie a full tick is because she was on the right track, but it's actually not helping. Because I'm trying to find f inverse of 2. And like I now know what f of 2 is, but I can't find, does that make sense?
Yes.
2 points, please, Julie.
so instead, could you set the f of x equation onto 0?
So tell me what equation you want me to write.
So it would be x cubed plus x equals 2. And in my head, I kind of did it. So if you plug in 1 for x, that would equal 2. So would it be f inverse of 2 equals 1?
Okay, look up here. Hold on. Back row's going big today.
Oh, take it.
Nicely done. So 2 things Julie did that I really liked is this. Look, first she said, "Oh, wait a minute. We talked about it. This equation f has 2 unknowns. This is the y coordinate. This is the x coordinate. So instead of putting in 2 for x, I'm trying to figure out like that. Let me draw this. Look. Okay, on the f graph, you have x and y coordinates. On the inverse function, you have x and y coordinates as well. But what happens is the x coordinates here are y coordinates here. And the y coordinates here are x coordinates here. So if I'm trying to find f inverse of 2, that is a y coordinate over here. So Juliet correctly said, I need to replace f of x with 2. So she did. Wave at me if you need me to talk to them. And that's going to happen on test questions. Like what she just saw there is going to happen. We need to talk about it more. Okay. Then you did another thing that was really smart. She said, no, we've also talked about how you don't have to always do algebra to solve an equation. To solve an equation simply means find the x which will make the equation true. And just by looking, she's like, oh, look, if you plug in x equal 1, 1 cubed is 1, plus 1 would be 2. So she figured out that if the y coordinate on f is 2, the x coordinate must be 1. Therefore, for the inverse function, if the x coordinate is 2, the y coordinate must be 1. It's well done. Now, for everyone else, listen. I really like that she thought of that. I've actually never had to do that on any AP question. They've always given another way of finding it, like this part here. Because in general, this may not be easy to solve. Like it may be really tough. So anyway, but really good side. It's really good cover. Anybody else? Cool. So we finished this problem, right? Sweet.